Here are 5 reasons why IUL fails for so many people. My name is Daniel, founder of McCluskey Financial. I currently train under the top IUL producers in America, and the first is simply due to poor policy design. This is the problem with over 90% of policies. If you don't get this step right, the other reasons don't even matter because you got it wrong from the beginning. Now, when you buy an indexed universal life, there's essentially 2 buckets that your money can go into. There's the death benefit bucket and there's the cash value bucket. It's not exactly like that, but close enough. And essentially, the IRS tells you that in order to get the tax benefits of the indexed universal life, that there is a minimum amount of money that has to go into this death benefit bucket, so it's still considered life insurance. It's not considered an investment, therefore you get those tax benefits. Now the key when you are structuring this policy is to make sure the least amount goes there and the most amount goes towards the cash value. If you're only required for 50 of the dollars that you're putting in to go towards the cost of insurance, but you put $100 towards the cost of insurance, that means there's 50 less dollars that could have been going towards the cash value, growing and compounding over time. And now all you're doing is just buying yourself extra insurance that you probably didn't buy the policy for in the first place. It's actually very simple to do. The agent has to use the software provided by the insurance company that the product is going under and make sure that the most is going towards the cash value, because if it's not only are you not optimizing your index universal life, but the agent, because you are buying much more insurance, is actually going to get a much higher commission. Reason number 2 is underfunding the policy. Let's say that you are planning to put $12,000 a year into a policy, but then you only put in $6,000 a year. Well, that is the same as if we had just structured the policy incorrectly in the beginning. So that would be like you saying, I'm planning to put in $6,000 a year, but I, the agent, structure it to fit $12,000 a year, and then we run into that same problem we mentioned in reason 1. Even if the policy is structured correctly, the person who is paying the premiums of the policy has to make sure they follow through on that schedule. Now, of course, there is plenty of flexibility in terms of if you aren't able to make the full premium later down the road, you can reduce the death benefit to make it more optimized. You can also catch up on funding if you have a couple difficult months or years. But if you don't do that, in a lot of cases, the cost of insurance is going to catch up to you, or at the very least, you're just not going to have near as much money as you had planned to. Reason number 3, even if the policy is structured correctly, even if it is funded correctly, a lot of times people will use the incorrect withdrawal/loan strategy. So first and foremost, if you are going to withdraw money from the policy, these are taxed first in, first out, which basically means everything that you have contributed, which always is going to be post-tax dollars, you can take that back out at any time, tax-free. You already paid taxes on it before you put it in, you aren't going to have to pay taxes when you take it out. Anything above that, if you withdraw, you have to pay taxes on. This money is technically growing tax deferred. The way that you get around that is by accessing through what is called a policy loan. There's a number of different types of these. There are standard and there are variable loans. These still as well need to not be done recklessly, but it's important if you have a cash value of, let's say, $100,000, and you are going to access that money. If you want to withdraw, you can, up to everything you contributed tax-free. You don't just want to surrender the policy, take out the $100,000 and trigger a big taxable event. Instead, you can take policy loans, access that money tax-free. When you pass away, the death benefit pays that off and the remainder transfers to your heirs. Again, tax-free. Number 4 and 5 generally aren't the fault of the people buying and funding the policies, but rather the agent, and that is the ongoing support that is needed. So number 4, neglecting performance reviews. Indices can change, or the index is that you link your money to, whether it's the S&P 500, whether it's capped, whether it's uncapped, whether it's a volatility control index. These things are all subject to and will be changed by the insurance company over time throughout different cycles. So if you had a lot of money in the uncapped S&P 500 index, there's generally a spread that they're going to take off of actually what you make. Sometimes that can rise, sometimes that can go lower. There's also participation rates on, for example, a lot of these volatility control indexes, meaning if that index gains 5% and they have a 200% participation rate, you get 200% of 5%, so you get 10%. The company is allowed to and will change those participation rates. So they can increase, they can decrease, reviewing these annually, seeing which indices your money is linked to, and deciding if that's appropriate, again, for the continuing years is very important and can pay dividends long term. And number 5, this plays in with the last one. If you're doing those annual reviews, making sure that you are not over loaning, especially if you are going to use this to supplement retirement income. You've funded the policy for a long time, you've gotten past the waiting in all those early years, you're ready to start taking tax-free income via policy loans. If you have $1 million in there in cash value, you might not want to be taking out 12% a year, assuming that the policy is going to continue to grow and you're going to be able to do that sustainably. Also, depending on what types of loans you're actually using, if you're using variable loans, when the market goes down, you still have to pay the interest on your variable loan. You don't earn a positive arbitrage. So timing matters. It's, again, at your annual review, is very important to review how your actual income strategy is going. In conclusion, the policy needs to be structured correctly. It needs to be funded correctly. You need to have the right income strategy, withdrawals or loans, and your agent needs to be holding annual reviews, and you need to attend those. Stay educated. Don't just set it and forget it. If you're within 10 years of retirement in the US, subscribe or release videos twice a week on how to do that peacefully.